What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word? Hummingbird, thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage DC Season 2, Episode 6, A Civilized Truce. So let's get started with Quick's street naming event. So we are still there, but we're at the tail end of the fight between Erana and Sherelle. So Erana and Sherelle are going back and forth because Sherelle thought that this was the perfect time to confront Erana on why Erana had said that Black was shady. So Erana was like, I did not I called him shady because he is shady. He was doing shady things according to Joy, because Joy said that he was doing this, he was doing that, and those things are shady. And when you look up the definition of shady, it's those are the things that your husband was doing. So it seemed like Irena had made up her mind to believe Joy that Black was doing all of these things. And instead of getting upset about that, Sherelle was upset that Erana had used the word shady. For some reason, Sherelle was really hung up on that word. She didn't even respond to the things that Joy and Erana were accusing Black of doing. She was only responding to Erana using the word shady. So Ashley had to get in between them. They go their separate ways. And Ashley says that she is mostly disappointed in Erana because Erana should know better. And she says that Erana should never have been involved in this situation between Joy and Sherelle, and why they don't like each other and how Black is involved in all of that. Erana should never have injected herself into that mess. And Erana says in her confessional, Carlos King asked Erana, why did you say that her friends don't even like her? Because when her and Sherelle were going back and forth, Erana shouted out, that's why your friends don't even like you. Your own friends don't like you. So Carlos King wanted the tea. Like, why did you say that? Why don't her friends like her? And Erana refused to give an answer. So then Sherelle comes back to talk to Erana, and they kind of were like calling a truce in a way. So Erana was like, you know what? I admit I was doing the most. Okay. I was doing too much and I shouldn't have been that involved. So in Black and Sherelle's confessional, Black says that Erana is creating the narrative of him being unprofessional, because I guess, she's going around, not even going around. She just went directly from Joy to Sherelle, and from Sherelle to Joy. So I don't know why Black would say that, because it's Joy. She's the one that's revealing all the things that went down with the group that Black and Joy were in. She's the one that's telling that's telling Erana that, Black was up to no good and he was doing all these shady things. So I don't understand why Black is blaming Erana for anything. Irana's fault was that she got involved in something that had nothing to do with her. And she was so busy doing the run tell that between Sherelle and Joy, she got caught up. That's her only fault. She's not the one that's accusing Black of doing these things. So Sherelle says that Erana and Joy should have a conversation. But they did. Erana and Joy did talk, and that's when Joy spilled all the beans on your husband, girl. So moving on from there, Ashley and Quick, they're going out to eat, and Ashley explains to Quick, because Quick was asking exactly what is the deal between Erana and Sherelle. So Ashley explains the whole situation and why they got into that fight at his event. And Quick was like, that wasn't the time and place, blah blah blah. My grandmother was there. We get it, Quick. So then Quick says that the women's issues will normally spill into the will spill over to the men. I kind of understand that in a way. Yeah, he's right about that. He is right, because I do see how that transpired when the men got together. So he's like, the women's issue will spill into the men's, and I'm going to get all the men together, and I'm going to let them know how, I don't know what he was trying to say, because I really wasn't paying attention. I guess he was trying to he wants to get the men together so that he can make it clear to them that we don't have to let the women's issue affect what we got going on as guys. I think that's what he wants to do. So Erana talks about how, excuse me, Ashley talks about how Irena should not have gone back and forth between the two women. She should have just stayed out of it. So Ashley says that she plans to meet up with Winter and she wants to just squash their beef. She doesn't want to be friends with her, but she just wants to get rid of the pettiness that's going on between them. Moving on from there, Irena. Irena is celebrating her mother's 73rd birthday. And I was shocked to find out that Mama was 73 years old because she looks damn good for 73. I mean, she looks a good 20 years younger than that. So the theme of the party is a cowboy theme. Everybody has to show up dressed like a cowboy. Ashley, Irena, and Joy, at some point at the party, they have an opportunity to talk. And before that, I think Irena was asking Joy about, when are they going to get married and when are they going to have babies and biological clocks are ticking, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I know this has to be extremely, you know what? I would never, if I have a friend that is single, I would never bring up to them, if they were single or engaged or had a boyfriend, I would never bring up to them, so when are you going to get married? When are you going to have a baby? Because they get that a lot. I'm pretty sure they get that a lot, especially if they are engaged or if they do have a significant other. I'm pretty sure they get harassed a lot by family members and friends about when are you going to do this and when are you going to do that. It's got to be very annoying because it doesn't end. When you're single, people ask you, when are you going to find someone? Then you find someone. When are you going to get engaged? Then you get engaged. When are you going to get married? Then you get married. When are you going to have babies? Then you have your first child. If your first child, whatever gender you have your first child, then the next question is, and this is what I experienced, you have the baby, you have your first baby, then the question is, we're going to have another, we're going to have another, we're going to have another. Okay, so you have another baby, and if they happen to be the same gender, well, we're going to have a third so you can have a boy, we're going to have a third so you can have a girl. And I guess once you have that third baby, people shut the hell up. And hopefully the third baby, the gender is different from the first two. If you have one of each gender, I guess people leave you alone. You have to be engaged, you have to be married, and you have to have children of different genders for people to finally get out, for them to get out of your life. So I think there was a scene where Irena was asking Joy, like, when you're going to have a baby, when you're going to get married, all this stuff at the birthday party. So moving on from there, Ashley, Irena, and Joy sit down to have a conversation. Ashley says that even though Irena was just a messenger, when she said what Joy told her about Black at Quick's event, it seemed like Irena herself was believing the things that Joy had said about Black, with her not really knowing what really went down because she wasn't there. She wasn't present when Mambo Sauce fell apart, but it seemed like she was just believing Joy because she told Sherelle, well, your husband is shady because your husband did ABCD. It kind of looked like, Irena believed that Black was shady. So Ashley was just like, that was not a good look because you really did look like you were accusing that man of doing those things. Irena then says to Joy that Joy should have a conversation with Sherelle. And Joy doesn't want to hear that. Joy's like, I really don't give a damn about none of this. This is in my past. I've moved on. I don't think about these people. I'm not worried about these people. So why would I sit and have a conversation with Sherelle? I just don't care. Irena says that the issues between Sherelle and Joy is affecting her. So she wants them to have a conversation. She says that it's spilling over to her relationship with Sherelle and it's making her feel like she's in the middle. So Irena doesn't want the two women to have a conversation just to be grown, mature women and, put the past behind them. She wants them to have a conversation because she's feeling uncomfortable and she needs them to get along so she can be more comfortable. Moving on to Ashley and Winter. So they finally have their get together. They meet up and Ashley tells Winter that she's tired of the back and forth, the pettiness that they have going on, and she just wants it to stop. And Ashley says that she's planning an event for all the ladies to get together and work out their problems. And Winter is like, well, who's all coming? And Ashley says it doesn't matter who's all coming. I just want you to be there. And Winter's like, yo, but I need to know. I need to know who's all going to be there. Winter, I don't know if Carlos King told Winter that this is the role that you're going to be playing this season. You're going to be playing the bone carrier. You're going to be playing the villain. You're going to be playing the one that everybody hates. I don't know if that's what he told her and she's trying to do her job and live up to that. But it's like, I'm trying to understand, Winter, is if this is how you really are, nobody should pay you a single dime for any kind of professional advice or help that you could give, because she's a spiritual something, a spiritual counselor, relationship counselor, a life coach, or whatever the hell she is. If this is how you conduct your own life, because when Ashley was trying to let her know, I just want to move past all of this pettiness and I want us to be in a place of peace. We're not going to be best friends. We're not going to run off into the sunset together holding hands. But I want us to be at a place where we just don't do all that back and forth stuff. And instead of just accepting that and receiving that and saying, you're right, she was like, but Ashley, you do this and you do that too. But Ashley, you said this and you started that. And it's like, no, there is no but Ashley. It's just, I hear you. I accept it. Yes, you're right. Let's just be mature about this and move on. But she doesn't want to be like that. But then people pay her money to give them life advice. Like, I don't get it. Moving on from there, Erana. So Erana is launching a wig line and she invites Joy to come check out the wigs. And when Joy gets there, the first thing that Erana asks her, after they play in the wigs and stuff, when they sit down and have a conversation, Erana asks, well, did you talk to Clifton about the wedding? And Joy was like, oh my God. Just mentally, not like obviously, just mentally, you can just see Joy like, here we go again with this damn wedding. So Joy says that she doesn't want to have a formal wedding because her father won't be there to walk her down the aisle. So she's okay with having like a courthouse wedding. She's okay with that. And Erana wants to know, Erana, do you have any self-awareness? Can you not tell that when every time you talk about this damn wedding, you talk about babies, Joy is like exhausted? That's the thing. I mean, I could never be the kind of person where I would constantly ask a friend of mine, when are you going to get married? When are you going to have babies? I could never be that person because I was sort of like in those shoes. When you meet someone, when you're single, people are like, when are you going to find someone? Are you dating? Are you seeing anyone? Do you want me to fix you up with somebody? Okay, so fine. Now you find someone. Now y'all are together. When are you going to get married? Okay, fine. Now you're getting married. When are you going to have babies? We're going to have babies. Okay, so now you have your first kid. When are you going to have another? When are you going to have another? Okay, so then you have your second child. Heaven forbid your first two kids are the same gender. Because then the next question is, when are you going to have a boy? When are you going to have a girl? And I think the only time that people finally leave you alone is when you are married and you have children of each gender, of both genders. And I think that's when they finally leave you alone, because it's just like everybody feels like they have to be. Everybody doesn't have to be in the same position in life. Okay. Not everybody has to be married with, 2.5 kids, white picket fence, and a dog named Spot. That is not the ideal for everybody. So leave people alone. Joy knows that she has to get married. She knows this wedding has to happen at some point. You don't have to keep badgering her and asking her, when are you going to get married? When's the date? Did you set a date? When are you going to have a baby? Your biological clock. And then that's another thing that I think is extremely rude, is when people are constantly telling a woman, oh, you better hurry up and have them babies. You don't got forever. You don't have the rest of your life. You got a biological clock at a certain age. It's all going to be over. You won't be able to have kids. You're approaching 35. You're approaching 40. When are you going to have them babies? That is so rude to me. People know this. Every adult woman knows this, that her time frame of having children is somewhat limited. She doesn't have her whole entire lifetime to have babies. They know this. So they're doing exactly what they want to do. Wherever you see them at in life, that is where they want to be. Whether they're trying to have a baby, or they are pregnant, or they've decided not to have children, or they've decided to wait, wherever they are in life, that's where they want to be. So don't pressure them to go in another direction, the direction that you want them to go to. Moving on. The boys. Okay, so all the guys get together. What's his name? Quick. He gets all the guys together. Where do they go? I don't even know what they did, but they all get together and he invited all the guys, all the husbands. So initially, the only one missing is Black. So somebody asked, when is Black coming? Or did you invite Black? And Clifton says, who's Black? And that really irritated DJ Quick, because in his confessional, he was like, man, why did Cliff have to say who's Black? He knows exactly who Black is. Why he capping like that? Quick was really bothered by Clifton saying who's Black. So Black eventually shows up, and Quick brings up the issue that went on between Joy and Sherelle. And Black tells Clifton that, you've been misinformed. You've been given the wrong information by your wife. So he explains his version of what happened. So let's remember what Joy had said. Joy had said that they were in this group called Mambo Sauce. And two of the members, the original members, had left. So they got two replacement members. They went on tour. The tour turned out great. They were getting a lot of recognition. They were on their way up. As the group was picking up momentum and becoming more successful, the two original members wanted back in. And Black wanted the two original members to come back. The rest of the band didn't because they were doing so well with the two new members. They didn't want the originals to come back. So Black gave the band an ultimatum that if they don't come back, I'm out. And I guess that's where the band fell apart. I'm assuming. I don't really know. So Black's version is, yes, two originals left, two new ones came in. And when the two new members came in, he kind of had to take on the role of management because I guess the two originals that had left, one of them had some type of a managerial role over the band. So when they left and the two newbies came in, Black was the one that was kind of like in charge of the business end, and he was overwhelmed, completely overwhelmed. And so when the drummer wanted to come back in, and the drummer was one of the two that left, he was happy because the drummer was willing to take some of the business load off of Black. And he was happy about that. He was like, oh yes, I need you to come back. But the other band members didn't want the original drummer to come back. So that's where it fell apart. So that was his version. He was like, I was thinking, I needed help. I wanted this person to come back. Nobody else did. So I had to give them an ultimatum. If this person doesn't come back to help me out, I'm out. So he kind of fleshed it out a little bit more because Joy just gave us the surface. This is what he wanted. We didn't want that. He gave us an ultimatum. Black is giving us a little bit more information. I needed this person to come back to help me with the business end, and nobody else wanted this person back. So I'm not saying anybody's wrong. I'm not saying anybody's right. But what I am saying is that on these shows, when something really major has occurred off camera and before they began filming, but it becomes a big issue on camera, I think that the viewers lose focus and really don't care. They lose interest because we were not there to witness this. So we don't know who's right, who's wrong. We're just going by he said, she said. And it's interesting to see, I guess the drama that's occurring, the fights between Sherelle and Joy and, Erana putting herself into it. Okay, that's good for TV. It's interesting. But as far as the stuff that happened a long time ago, us as the viewer, it's kind of like we don't really care. I mean, we can't decide whose side to be on. We don't know whose side to be on because we were not there. It's not like, this was caught on camera and we can clearly see how things went down and then we can all pick a side on who we think is right, who we think is wrong, or just stay neutral. But when the stuff happened out, off camera and it happened years ago, it's just kind of like we're just sitting there watching it like, okay, what are y'all going to, start being concerned with the stuff that's actually happening right now on camera? We're not going to get over that and just be more concerned about the stuff that's actually going on right now in the present. That's just my personal opinion on that. Moving on from there, Joy has a show and Clifton is there, obviously. Erana and Jamie are there as well. So we watch her do her bit, and she is good. She is very, very good. Her voice is very powerful. So she does her bit. It's really good. After that, her and Erana sit down to have a conversation, and Erana brings up the wedding again. She asks Erana, did you talk to Clifton about the wedding? I guess, did she ask Clifton if they can have the courthouse wedding? I think that's what she meant. And, Joy doesn't really, she's like, doesn't really want to talk about the wedding. And I'm thinking to myself, Erana, can't you tell that Joy doesn't want to talk? That Joy doesn't want to talk about this stuff because the reason that Joy doesn't want to talk about this, I'm not sure why Erana is not picking this up. You can tell that she doesn't want to talk about these things because Joy herself is not bringing it up. Some brides want to talk about their wedding all day and all night until you just want to just, just like telling them to shut up. All they want to do is talk about their wedding. Joy ain't that kind of bride, okay? So Erana constantly bringing up this wedding is very irritating to Joy. But anyways, so then they talk about Ashley's event. And Joy said, being on stage, performing, it's a walk in the park. What I'm really concerned about, what really makes me apprehensive, is Ashley's event where we're all supposed to get together and air out our differences, because Sherelle's going to be there. And I just don't want to have to deal with these things. So we see Ashley's event. All the women show up. Ashley lays down the rules of whatever this event is for. I think it's called Say That And I guess it's like kind of playing on the theme of her book. And I think her book is called Do That So all the women are there. Ashley lays down the rules on, I guess, when you can talk and what to talk about, whatever she said. And Erana has the very first question, which is, why the hell is winter here? And that's where the episode ended. So it was a cute little episode. More like a filler episode, just to get us to the next level, just to kind of, show us, like, plant the seeds of what's going to be happening in the upcoming episodes. So it's a cute little episode. I enjoyed it. It is what it is. But Erana, please stop asking Joy about her wedding. She doesn't want to talk about it, every minute of the day. Moving on from that, winter, girl. I wouldn't even take a coupon for the type of advice that you're giving if this is how you're acting with your little friend group here. You're trying to keep you're trying to stir the pot constantly because you think that's what's going to keep you on the show, or you feel like you're doing what your boss wants you to do. I don't know what you're trying to do, Winter, but it looks really immature. Ashley is the only one so far who has any sense. She's not going back and forth between anybody, trying to keep the gossip going. She's willing to put, the past behind her. Let bygones be bygones. Let's stop the pettiness. Let's stop the bickering. She's willing to grow and mature from that. She's got a lot going on. I think her book is doing well. Ashley is the shining star of the show. If anybody feels like this show cannot go on with Monique Samuels, they were wrong, because they hadn't met Ashley yet. Ashley has filled up Monique's shoes perfectly, absolutely perfectly, and I really do enjoy it. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video if you like this content. Go ahead and subscribe, and I'll definitely talk to you later.